So, what is the Fourth Estate? According to Merriam-Webster, the Fourth Estate is defined to be the public press, more specifically the press's ability to frame political issues. The idea of the Fourth Estate has been around for centuries, dating all the way back to medieval times. In the 19th century, the term was used solely for the press and is now applied to all branches of the media. Although the Fourth Estate is not recognized as a part of the political system, it holds a significant amount of indirect influence over the public. So now that we understand the definition of the Fourth Estate, let's get into some of the history behind it. Thomas Carlyle spoke of how the term was first used in a parliamentary debate back in the 1700s by Edmund Burke. Burke served as a member of the Parliament in the House of Commons of Great Britain. Carlyle quoted, "A fourth estate of able editors springs up, increases, and multiplies, irreplaceable, incalculable. There are the three recognized forms of government, but the fourth unrecognized form would be the public press. The press has the ability to share political information, and a democracy functions best when its citizens stay informed." Earlier writers have also related the term to lawyers and to the British Queen's consort. The consort acted as a free agent and was therefore independent of the king. Oscar Wilde has written that the Fourth Estate had become the only estate that had eaten up the other three. Throughout history, the press has had a significant impact on democracies. Because they're able to frame political issues and share ideas with the public, they hold great power in politics. There's a lot of history behind the Fourth Estate, but let's look at its prevalence nowadays. In the beginning of January, breaking news of a virus rapidly spreading through China became recognized globally. COVID-19 became a hot topic across all media stations throughout Europe and the United States. The initial protocol was to continue life as normal, with many Americans assuming the virus would not spread to the United States. Flash forward to March, and COVID cases began to soar throughout the U.S. On March 13th, President Trump declared travel bans across Europe. Americans that were abroad were encouraged to return home as soon as possible. Later in March, state governors began placing restrictions on businesses and public gatherings. Until the beginning of June, only businesses that were deemed essential were kept functioning. Restaurants only permitted to-go orders, universities moved their courses online, and regular office jobs transitioned into remote working. COVID-19 was declared a public health crisis and issued a national emergency. The press's coverage of COVID developed as quickly as the virus did. News stations were filled with information from the CDC and Trump's response to COVID. From the media, people were informed how to accommodate to the new changes brought on by the virus. Face masks were deemed mandatory and social distancing measures were put into effect. The presidential election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump has been receiving lots of attention from the press. The press has the ability to be politically biased. For example, Fox News tends to lean more Republican, whereas CNN leans more Democratic. Political bias, especially in news stations, can persuade or confirm the viewer's political beliefs. With the Fourth Estate holding so much power over politics, since their coverage is absolutely necessary in informing the public, media outlets that tend to lean either more right-wing or left-wing have a huge influence on their viewers. In class, we examined a media bias chart that showed which way various news stations tend to lean. Like I had mentioned earlier, Fox News leans Republican alongside other news outlets such as The American Spectator, The Federalist, The National Review, and The New York Post. Media coverage from these stations is politically biased towards all things Republican, so the information that they share will be skewed to fit that agenda. On the other hand, outlets such as CNN, HuffPost, MSNBC, and the New York Times lean Democratic. Their news coverage will support the Democratic agenda, and the information they report on is skewed to fit their agenda as well. Media outlets that are deemed neutral, in other words, don't lean either Republican or Democratic, include the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and The Hill. Most people tend to tune into the news stations they relate to and agree with. So Republicans are more likely to view Fox News, and Democrats are more likely to view CNN. Since the press holds the power to report on what aligns with their beliefs and agendas best, the viewer receives only the information in support of their political beliefs. So for the final half of this presentation, I thought I would just do a regular video and talk about what I've learned, why I think it's important, and just kind of conclude everything about the Fourth Estate. So for centuries, the media has had the ability to cover, report, and share information with the public. They hold the freedom to be politically biased and share information that best aligns with their political beliefs. The Fourth Estate is crucial to the functioning of a democracy since they hold the power to share and withhold information. The media basically functions as a fourth branch of government, and and they have a direct influence on the public. All the information you receive, especially in regards to politics, is from various news stations. So I chose this topic because I thought the media and the media's influence, especially nowadays, was extremely important. Their coverage of COVID, their coverage of the election, their coverage of the Black Lives Matter movement, which I didn't mention in this. It would have been too long if I would have included everything, so I just wanted to focus in on two big topics. But their coverage of all of those tends to be politically biased or biased towards their beliefs, especially with, CNN and Fox. Fox leaning more Republican, CNN leaning more Democratic. I've always been interested in the media and especially how they cover certain things. I was surprised to learn about the history of it. I didn't know it had been relevant for so long, dating all the way back to the 17th century. That was mind-blowing to me, and how important it is in the functioning of a democracy, and the information that we receive from these news outlets, it shapes our political beliefs, and especially for people that tune into news stations that align with their beliefs, it kind of just drills those in. I personally don't lean either way. I like to get the full picture of everything, which I think everybody should do. It's best. Obviously you can have your political beliefs, but I don't think that you should just tune into one news station specifically. I know my parents tend to lean more towards Fox, and then my grandparents are more CNN, so family events are lots of fun. Yeah, I thought this was a very interesting topic to choose. I think there's so much to dive into, especially with the history and with how it's prevalent nowadays. So I learned a lot about everything, and then with also the knowledge that I had about the news beforehand definitely helped out a lot. So I hope that you enjoyed the video, and that's all.